Hello students, welcome back. In the previous class, we have studied the size of the cell, shape of the cell, everything. Now in this class, we will study the types of cells. Basically, there are two types of cells. As you know, the two types of cells are prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. You know what is a prokaryotic cell? The cell which contains a primitive nucleus, or we can say the cells which do not contain true nucleus and membrane bound cell organelles is called as a prokaryotic cell, whereas the eukaryotic cells which contain a true nucleus and membrane bound cell organelles. And now in this class we are mainly discussing about the prokaryotic cell. So we are discussing the structure of prokaryotic cell. Structure of prokaryotic cell. Yeah, as you know, the prokaryotic cell, the cell, or we can say the primitive cell which do not contain true nucleus and membrane bound cell organelles in the cytoplasm is referred to as a prokaryotic cell. And the prokaryotes are usually represented by the bacteria. Prokaryotes are represented by the bacteria, cyanobacteria, that is a blue-green algae, and mycoplasma. And I told you many times, among the 5 kingdoms of classification, the one and only kingdom of prokaryotes is kingdom Monera, and that kingdom Monera includes bacteria, cyanobacteria, and mycoplasma, that is a PPLO. So these are the organisms which are mainly called as prokaryotes. So prokaryotes mainly comprising the prokaryote cell are represented by bacteria, cyanobacteria, and mycoplasma. And these prokaryotes, they are usually smaller in size, but they will multiply much faster than that of the eukaryotes. So in case of eukaryotes, the cells may be bigger or smaller, but the prokaryotes, they are usually smaller in size, but they will multiply much faster than that of the eukaryotes. And so there are the shape of the prokaryotic cell usually differs. Usually the shape as well as size of the prokaryotic cell, it differs. There are 4 basic shapes of cells. As you know, in case of bacteria, a bacillus, which is a rod-shaped bacteria, coccus, spherical, vibrio, comma-shaped bacteria, and spirillum, spiral-shaped bacteria, and you already know the examples for all these. So depending upon the shape, the bacteria are mainly classified into bacillus, coccus, vibrio, spirillum, etc. So these are the main basic shapes of bacteria. And here when we look at the prokaryotes, all prokaryotes have similar basic cellular organization. You can observe the bacteria, cyanobacteria or mycoplasma, they have a similar basic structural composition or basic cellular organization. So let us see what are the basic cellular organization which can be seen among the different prokaryotes. So initially, the first and foremost thing, the basic common structure in all prokaryotes is that the presence of cell wall. The presence of cell wall, and that cell wall surrounding the cell membrane. So this is the cell membrane, this is the cell wall. So in all prokaryotes, we can find the presence of cell wall surrounding the cell membrane. And the fluid matrix which is filling the cells is called as a cytoplasm. Or we can say the fluid filled matrix called as cytoplasm. Yeah, in all prokaryotes we can find the presence of cytoplasm, and there is no true nucleus, or we can say there is no well-defined nucleus in prokaryotes. Here they do not have a well-defined nucleus, or they do not have a true nucleus. And the genetic material is usually DNA, which is called as naked DNA. Why it is called as naked DNA? Because the genetic material is not enclosed by a nuclear membrane. In the previous classes only I told you, if genetic material is surrounded by a nuclear membrane that is called a true nucleus, but here no such nuclear membrane can be seen. That's why the DNA is called as a naked DNA. The genetic material is present, which is a DNA, but it is not enclosed by the nuclear membrane. And another thing, along with genomic DNA, along with the genetic material DNA, many prokaryotes have some small circular DNA called as plasmid. They have small circular DNA called as plasmid. You can see here it is a circular one and a small DNA. Even this is also made up of DNA and this is called as plasmid. I will explain what is this plasmid, what is its function, everything. So now I am saying the basic cellular organization in most of the prokaryotes. The first one is cell wall surrounding the cell membrane, and the presence of cytoplasm. There is no well-defined nucleus. Genetic material is naked because not enclosed by the nuclear membrane. Along with the genomic DNA, they also contain small circular DNA called as plasmid. And they have non-membranous organelles called as ribosomes because membrane-bound cell organelles are completely absent in the prokaryotes. So these are the common structures we can find in the common cellular organization can be seen in all prokaryotes. Now we will discuss in detail about the structure of a prokaryotic cell. So whenever they ask draw a neat label diagram of a prokaryotic cell, you no need to confuse with the question. The prokaryotic cell is nothing but the bacterial cell. If you draw the bacterial cell, that is only called as a prokaryotic cell. Now we are going to discuss the structure of a prokaryotic cell or a bacterial cell. And this one, in all prokaryotes, they have complex cell envelope. They have complex cell envelope, and this cell envelope is comprising of three components, namely the outermost one is called as glycocalyx, the middle one is called as a cell wall, and the inner one is called as a cell membrane. You can look at the diagram. See, this is the bacterial cell or prokaryotic cell. Here, the outermost layer is called as a glycocalyx, the middle one is called as a cell wall, and the inner one is called as a cell membrane. All together, it is called as cell envelope. I already told you cell envelope is nothing but the outer covering or boundary. So here the cell envelope is made up of three components: glycocalyx, cell wall and cell membrane. Now we will discuss one by one in detail. So firstly, the glycocalyx. Already you know that glycocalyx, it is the outermost layer of the bacterial cell which is made up of polysaccharides. So glycocalyx, it is the outermost layer of the bacterial cell made up of polysaccharides. And this glycocalyx, so here the glycocalyx, it may be a loose sheath. It may be a loose sheath called as a slime layer, or it may be thick and tough called as capsule. So this glycocalyx, it may be a loose sheath. If it is a loose sheath, it is called as a slime layer. If it is a thick and tough, it is called as capsule. Generally in bacteria, we will write capsule instead of glycocalyx, which is nothing but in bacterial cell, the outermost layer capsule, it is very thick and tough. In some other prokaryotes, we may have observed the loose sheath called as a slime layer. And what is the importance of glycocalyx? So this glycocalyx, it provides a sticky character to the bacteria. It provides a sticky nature to the bacteria so that the bacteria can able to attach to the substratum. That is one thing. And so this prevents desiccation. As it is sticky in nature, it prevents desiccation. Desiccation is nothing but drying. If bacteria is present in some hot environment, in that condition, the bacteria can able to survive without drying because of the presence of glycocalyx. And this glycocalyx also provides protection from the antibiotics, or we can say toxic chemicals, drugs, etc. So that is the importance of glycocalyx. So glycocalyx, it is the outermost layer made up of polysaccharides, which may be a loose sheet called as slime layer, or it is a thick and tough layer called as capsule. So this is about the outermost layer called as glycocalyx. Now we will see about cell wall. Now we will see about the cell wall. Here the cell wall which lies in between the glycocalyx and the plasma membrane, or simply we can say that this cell wall it lies just below the capsule in case of bacteria, or generally we can say the cell wall which is present just below the glycocalyx. And the cell wall of bacteria which is mainly made up of peptidoglycan, and this cell wall it usually provides rigidity and shape to the cell. So cell wall it mainly provides rigidity, the rigidness to the cell, and also it provides a shape to the cell. So the bacterial shape it is mainly because of the cell wall, and the chemical composition of the cell wall is very important. In bacteria, the cell wall is mainly made up of peptidoglycan, or which is also called as murein, isn't it? And another thing, bacteria can be classified into two types depending upon the cell envelope as well as the staining procedure. So depending upon the cell envelope and staining procedure, the bacteria can be classified into two types. They are gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. So bacteria mainly of two types, gram-positive and gram-negative. Actually, this staining procedure was explained by or was given by Christian Gram. He was the person who developed the staining procedure. Here, the bacteria are usually stained with weakly alkaline solution of crystal violet. In the previous class, I told you there are different types of stains available to color the colorless material. Similarly, in order to stain the bacteria, we are using the weakly alkaline solution of crystal violet. If the bacteria takes up the stain, it is usually appears purple in color, and that purple bacteria is called as gram-positive bacteria. If bacteria takes the stain, it appears purple in color and it is called as gram-positive bacteria. If bacteria do not take up the stain and it appears pinkish in color, it is called as gram-negative bacteria. Try to understand. Here we are staining the bacteria. If bacteria takes up the stain, it is purple in color called as gram-positive bacteria. If bacteria do not take up the stain, appears pink in color and it is called as gram-negative bacteria. So this is depending upon the staining procedure. Even based on the cell envelope, we can also classify the bacteria into two types, that is gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. So how, based on the cell envelope, we can classify the bacteria? See, in case of gram-positive bacteria, the cell wall is 20 to 80 nanometer thick. The thickness of the cell wall is about 20 to 80 nanometers, and it is usually a single layer. I am talking about the cell wall. In case of gram-positive bacteria, the cell wall is single layered, which is a smooth layer, and it is 20 to 80 nanometer thick. And this single layer is made up of peptidoglycan. And this peptidoglycan contributes about 70 to 80% of the wall. So in that single layer, the percentage of peptidoglycan is about 70 to 80%. If you observe a single layered cell wall which is smooth and which is made up of peptidoglycan about 70 to 80%, it is classified as gram-positive bacteria. If it is gram-negative bacteria, so here it is two-layered. Here it is two-layered and thickness of the wall is 8 to 12 nanometer. 8 to 12 nanometer, and among these two layers, one is outer layer, other one inner layer, and this outer layer is made up of lipopolysaccharides and inner layer is made up of peptidoglycan, and peptidoglycan content is about 10 to 20%. So this is how, depending upon the cell wall, we can classify the bacteria into gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria, purple in color, gram-negative, pinkish in color. In gram-positive bacteria, the wall is 20 to 80 nanometer thick, single layer, smooth layer, and it is made up of peptidoglycan, and peptidoglycan content is 70 to 80%. Then gram-negative bacteria, it is usually two-layered and it is usually wavy in outline and a complex structure which is as it is two-layered, outer and inner. Outer layer is made up of lipopolysaccharides and inner one is made up of peptidoglycan, but peptidoglycan content is 10 to 20%. So this is about cell wall. And you understood how the bacteria can be classified based on the staining procedure and on the basis of the cell wall. Now we will discuss about the cell membrane. So here the cell wall, you can observe here it is a single layered one. It may be a two-layered one in case of gram-negative bacteria. Now we are discussing the innermost membrane, that is cell membrane. So cell membrane, it is the innermost layer of the bacterial cell and which is present just below the cell wall. And the space between the cell wall and plasma membrane is called as a periplasmic space. The space between cell wall and cell membrane is called as a periplasmic space. But now we are talking about the cell membrane. It is present below the cell wall and it is the innermost layer of the bacterial cell. And the plasma membrane, every time whenever we say cell membrane or plasma membrane, it is called as semi-permeable or selectively permeable. So plasma membrane or cell membrane, it is semi-permeable or selectively permeable. Why it is called as selectively permeable? Because this membrane will allow only selected molecules to enter into the cell. See, sometimes the glycocalyx and cell wall will allow all the components to enter. But this cell membrane, it is very specific and very selective. Whatever the components which are required by the cell, only those molecules will be allowed to enter into the cell. That's why it is selectively permeable in nature. And the structure of cell membrane or plasma membrane, it is exactly similar to that of the eukaryotes. So in eukaryotes also we can find same structure of cell membrane. Even in prokaryotes also we can find the same type of structure of plasma membrane. We have a separate topic about the plasma membrane. There we can discuss the structure. So this is about the cell membrane. And here in cell membrane, we need to talk some more points about the cell membrane. See, the cell membrane shows some membranous extensions. Membranous extensions either outwards or inwards. Here you can observe the plasma membrane shows inward foldings into the cytoplasm. These are called as mesosomes. What are mesosomes? They are the inward foldings of the plasma membrane. Again, we need to discuss about mesosomes in this class only. And in some prokaryotes, especially in case of cyanobacteria, The plasma membrane produces membranous extensions which contain photosynthetic pigments, and they are called chromatophores. They are called as chromatophores. They are seen in cyanobacteria. So in bacteria, you can see the inward foldings of the plasma membrane called as mesosomes. Similarly, in cyanobacteria, the plasma membrane produces the membranous extensions into the cytoplasm, like this. Membranous extensions into the cytoplasm. They are containing the photosynthetic pigments, and they are called as chromatophores. And you should remember, the chromatophores are present in cyanobacteria. So this is about the plasma membrane. Now let us talk about the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm, as I said, it is the fluid filled matrix or semi-fluid matrix of the cell is called as cytoplasm, and which is usually the site for many cellular activities or many biochemical reactions will be taking in this cytoplasm. So various biochemical reactions are taking place within the cytoplasm, and here in the cytoplasm the membrane bound cell organelles are completely absent, but the non-membranous structures are present, like ribosomes. Ribosomes are present, nucleoid, plasmid. So all these structures we need to discuss in detail. So let us recall the points which we have discussed in this class, and we will continue in the next class. So here the primitive cell which do not contain a true nucleus and membrane bound cell organelles is called as a prokaryotic cell, and prokaryotic cells are represented by bacteria, cyanobacteria and mycoplasma. They are usually smaller in size, but they will multiply much faster than that of the eukaryotic cell. And you know different shapes of bacteria, and you know what are the basic cellular structure which can be seen in all prokaryotes, everything you know when you come to the structure of prokaryotic cell. So a typical bacterial cell is the prokaryotic cell here, which contains a complex cell envelope. Here the cell envelope comprising of glycocalyx, cell wall and cell membrane. Glycocalyx, it is the outermost layer of the bacterial cell, and which is mainly made up of polysaccharides. And glycocalyx, it may be a loose sheath called as a slime layer. If it is thick and tough, it is called as capsule. And the functions of glycocalyx is that it helps in providing sticky nature to the bacterium. It prevents desiccation or drying. It protects the bacteria from phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is nothing but cell engulfing or cell eating. Some WBCs, for example, if bacteria enters into our body, our immune system produces WBC, and those WBCs will eat up this bacteria. That is called as phagocytosis. So due to this glycocalyx, it prevents the phagocytosis, and even it protects the bacteria from toxic chemicals, drugs, etc. Then cell wall. So cell wall lies in between the glycocalyx and the plasma membrane. Here the cell wall of bacteria is mainly made up of peptidoglycan, and it provides rigidity and shape to the cell. I told you, depending upon the cell envelope and staining procedure, the bacteria can be classified into two types: gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. So the staining procedure was first given by or developed by Christian Gram. Here we are staining the bacteria with weakly alkaline solution of crystal wine. If bacteria takes up the stain, it is a purple color, gram-positive bacteria. If bacteria do not take up the stain, appears pinkish in color, gram-negative bacteria. That is depending upon the staining procedure, and depending upon the cell wall composition. In gram-positive bacteria, the wall is single layered, smooth, that is 20 to 80 nanometer thick, and made up of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan content is also more, 70 to 80%. In gram-negative bacteria, two layered, it is a complex structures, wavy in nature. Among the two layers, the outer one is made up of lipopolysaccharides, and inner one is made up of peptidoglycan, and peptidoglycan content is very little. I will send the pictures of the structure of cell wall, then you can able to understand the composition of peptidoglycan in gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Then when you come to the plasma membrane or cell membrane, so it is the innermost one, lies just below the cell wall, and it is semi-permeable or selectively permeable because it allows only selected molecules to enter into the cell, and structure is similar to that of the eukaryotes. And this plasma membrane shows inward foldings into the cytoplasm called as mesosomes. In some prokaryotes like cyanobacteria, they show membranous extensions into the cytoplasm, and they also contain photosynthetic pigments called as chromatophores. And next, cytoplasm. So the fluid matrix where all cellular activities are taking place. Here membrane bound cell organelles are absent, but they contain non-membranous structures along with some non-living inclusions. Everything that we will discuss in the next class.